So good morning, everybody. This is Closers Club. We do it every Wednesday at 10 a.m. East Coast, 7 a.m. Pacific time. And again, I guarantee it'll be the best 90 minutes of your entire week or your money back. Okay, so this morning we have an amazing guest, Claudienne Hibbert-Smith. She is unbelievable. She is relentlessly pursuing success. Okay, what do you think of that title this morning, by the way, Claudienne? Is that a good one? Does that sum it up? So she's relentless pursuit of success. And I'm going to get right into your story, Claudia. I'm going to let you tell it because nobody tells your story better than you do. But I'll just share a little bit about how we met. I met Claudienne, I believe, was it Operation 10X Badass was the first time we met in person? Go ahead and pop your mic on if you can. And so I think it was Operation 10X Badass. I met Claudienne for the first time. I'd interacted with Claudienne on a couple Zoom calls. She basically was brought in by Elena Cardone. And Elena effectively had smashed some records for bringing people into eXp Realty. I think the prior to that, it would have been about three a month was doing really well. Elena started bringing in 5 a week. And then Claudienne joined, and she made this really big, bold goal, which turns out maybe could have even been bigger. But she said, I want to bring in 100 people in my first 30 days. And so it was like a mind-blowing goal. Well, she came really close. I mean, she actually did a little in her first 30 days. She actually brought in almost a person a day. And completely broke that record. Because a lot of people say, hey, well, Elena Cardone can do it. She's famous. That's easy. But Claudienne's not famous, or not famous yet. She's infamous. She's well known in the real estate space, but she's not a international celebrity like Elena was. And here she was taking Elena's, what Elena had just built, and literally in real time. I mean, I'm watching Elena build it, and I'm watching Claudienne implement it almost as fast as Elena was coming up with it. And so now Claudienne has actually maybe broken that record. And so I liken that a lot to sort of the Roger Bannister, who broke the 4-minute mile. We talk a lot about that in here in Closers Club. Broke the 4-minute mile. And no one had ever done it before. And then that same year, I think something like 16 other people broke the 4-minute mile. So as soon as somebody sees that it's possible, someone's going to come along and smash that record, right? So Claudienne, good morning. Are you here? You got your mic on?
I was pinging some people in the room.
Always promoting, right? Always promote. Well, Claudienne, I love you, but why don't we go ahead and I could talk about you all day, but why don't you go ahead and jump in and share everybody your story, tell everybody what's going on.
Well, I'm just very excited. I remember meeting you in Orlando for the first time, and I was so excited because I'd heard so much about you, and your wife was there, and I was like, man, I didn't even know this was an event for husbands and men, and so, like, God, I could have brought my husband, but nevertheless.
It wasn't, by the way.
What'd you say?
I said it wasn't, by the way. I think a few of us guys just got in there somehow.
Got it. And I'm just excited. I'm just very, very excited to be here with eXp Realty in the environment of successful people. Yesterday I was just talking a little bit, and I was like, I remember just 4 or 5 months ago saying I was ready to retire. I was just going to relax a little bit. Maybe go and work at our school. We own an all-boys school from K to 12 that's doing very well. And I realized very quickly, it wasn't that I was ready to retire. I was ready to go from good to great. And I was bored. There was really no competition. And not that we want to compete, but a little nice, friendly competition is always great. And it's energizing. It's like, wow, sure, they did it. Maybe I can do it. And so I'm just excited to be here. And I don't know. What do you want me to talk about?
Well, I want to go back. I mean, a lot of the times, and you've been in here a few times with Closers Club over the last couple months, is we really want to get inside the mind of what made you successful. I think that is our ultimate goal, right, Michael, right, Alfonso, Suzanne? Like, that is what we try and do here every week. We try and get inside the mind of successful people. We like to hear your backstory, your origin story. So take us back. I mean, whether it's generational, whether it's back into when you were a little kid, like, take me back and sort of begin the story how you want to begin it. But I want to go back. I want to go back into the days there.
And I like to start right about here. At the age of 14, I'm in 8th grade, going into 9th grade, and I get pregnant. Not that I knew I was pregnant, I ended up having the baby, who's now 27 years old. And I just remember, Brian, people telling me, oh my God, that's a disaster. She's not going to graduate. She'll have 4 or 5 kids by the time she gets to 12th grade, if she makes it to 12th grade. And I don't know if I got it innately. I've just always been very competitive. I could remember in 2nd and 3rd grade wanting to finish my test on time before everybody and also get all of them right. And so I think I was born with an innate spirit to progress, to go no matter what the odds are. And so I have all these odds now stacked against me, and I'll be very transparent. You know, they might have been telling the truth. I was very bad. I had great grades in
statistically,
school. Yeah. So if I would have kept going on that path, I probably would have been in jail at some point. I probably would have had many kids at that point. But something said, you know what? I don't like the narrative that people are painting about me. I didn't like it. I made a little boo-boo. I was bad as a child. I remember having like 100 referrals in the system. If you don't know what a referral is, it's where they document every time that you've done something that you shouldn't do, and they put you out of school. By the time I got to 9th grade, I had about 100 referrals. And so my behavior just was not in line with somebody who they thought would be great. Yeah. And I'm not even at great yet. I feel like I'm between good and great, getting to my greatness. And so I just remember saying, you know what, I'm going to prove these people wrong. And at that moment, it was like something just clicked in my head. I didn't go to therapy. I didn't go to all of these different counseling sessions. Something just clicked at about the 10th grade. I became the vice president of my class. I got involved in organizations. I was a girl with a Mo school spirit. I hung around the people who I wanted to try to become.
So let me pause you for a sec. What do you think was the click? Like, was it a mentor? Was it a teacher? Was it a family member? Was it something you saw, something you witnessed? Like, what made that, what caused that shift at such an early age?
So I had a 7th grade teacher by the name of Tina Howell. And she took me in. She took me in under her wing because I told you, I was bad. And my mom couldn't handle me. My dad had already moved out and divorced. And she took me in.
You weren't bad. You acted bad.
Yeah. There you go. I was acting bad. You're right. Thank you for that. And she took me in, and I started to see the light. And I still had some troubles. Then she got married, moved away to Dallas, Texas, and then came back eventually. And I believe, just seeing how hard she worked. She had 2 jobs at the time. She was a school teacher. Now she's one of the #1 owners of Wingstop franchises. And so I just saw how hard she worked. And I think somewhere between that time and 10th grade, something says, Claudienne, you've got to make a change. It was like overnight. It was like I just made a decision. I was tired of skipping school. I was tired of people saying I wasn't going to make it. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to find me a new set of friends to hang around who wasn't doing the things that I should not have been doing. And so my environment changed. I want to say that my environment changed, but I changed it intentionally.
And again, I love pointing out these common themes from all our guests. Is she changed her environment and she changed her friend circle. Like, let's not discount that piece right there, because that's, I think in a lot of cases, that's one of the most critical pieces, is the people you're hanging out with.
And let me tell you, they all still had swag. So now it was just with the smart, swaggy people,
right?
And so we still was able to have our swag and, do what we were doing. And, I became the vice president of my senior class. I was in all kind of organizations, just got involved. I had to work, so that, there was no extracurricular like band. I always wanted to be in the band, but I had to work. I had a son at 14. And so I graduate from my high school class at the top of the class and go on to Ivy League, University of Florida. Go Gators. I got to make that little plug. And, people didn't think I would make it there. People were like, you're insane. You're only going to apply to 2 schools. You should apply to more. And I said, no, I knew I either wanted to go to FAMU or I wanted to go to UF. And I'll be honest, I went to UF because they paid my entire tuition, room and board, books. So now I'm in school for free. right? And I don't know that college is for everyone, Brian, but it was definitely for me because I needed to expand my horizons. I needed to now change my environment again.
Right.
And let me tell you, I built so many relationships. I still, to this day, 20 years later, still have conversations with some of my professors. And so, I've learned a lot in college, both in the books, both in nature, both in practicality, both in just life. And I graduate again at the top of my class. Claudienne wouldn't make it. She's going to probably fail. But then people started to now believe in me. People started to believe that, wow, how did she go from A to Z in this time period? And
how did you?
It wasn't easy. It was a decision.
Did you have a sports background, or did you have, obviously this ability to dig deep, stick with stuff? I mean, you tell me more about that.
Yeah, so I did. It's funny you asked me that because I did play softball in high school. I played third base and home and catcher. Two important positions.
Grant was a catcher. Did you know that?
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow, I've got to talk to him about that.
Yeah.
I had no idea. So I played, softball for 3 years in high school. And that also created team camaraderie, a different type of environment again. Right. I wasn't with the kids who were skipping school and doing whatever else that we shouldn't be doing at that age. And so, again, it was a decision that I made that I wanted to be a part of something big. And that was one of the decisions I made at that time. And so I then get out of, I graduate from the University of Florida and I get a job. I like to call it just over broke these days because that's exactly what happened. I was making about $40,000. And I said, man, I spent all this time in college and now I'm making $40,000. Where am I going here? But I was working. I was at the top of the business there where I was working at the time. And I just remember, Brian, them telling me, I live in Miami, Florida. Everybody knows that we don't have winters here. If we do, it's for 2 or 3 weeks, somewhere in January or February. Like when you guys are all bundled up for Christmas, we're hopping in the pool and going to the beach. Yeah. And so I just remember them telling us we had to wear clothes and shoes and pantyhose and stockings. And, we had to wear, and it just, I just cringed, but I had to go to work. That's what I had at the time. And I remember my mentor, it's like a mom to me, Tina Howell, the number one owner, like franchisee in Wingstop right now. I remember her coming back home and buying a house. And I remember being a part of that process. And I saw the realtor commission on the HUD. We had HUDs back then. And she made somewhere in the nature between $35,000 and $40,000. And I said, this can't be. I make that a year and I've got to go to work from 8 to 5, do what they tell me to do. Sometimes I'm working to 6 or 7. There's no afterlife. Forget about soccer practice with my son. Somebody else has to take him. Forget about football, basketball, tennis, and everything else that he was involved in.
Can I stop you a second? Because here's the thing. We're in the same business, you and I, right? Business of helping people, business of changing lives. Business. We obviously use certain vehicles. We use real estate. We use EXP to do this, but really the business is helping people, right? And a lot of the folks we try and help, they have a similar story that you have at 14, 15, 16, but they use that as a bit of a I don't want to say excuse, maybe a little bit of excuse, a little bit of a crutch, a little bit of a sword, a little bit of a shield, where they kind of go, well, listen, I got kids, I got stuff to do. I got to pay bills. I got food. I got to put food on the table. And that almost stops them from doing the work, right? They for some reason that's, they're using that to, give themselves a pass, or maybe it's a hedge, or maybe it's a, fear-based situation. They don't want to take that leap of faith and embrace, maybe 100% commission job for a few months until they can get off the ground. So they got to hang on to that job, right? Or they got to hang on to that steady income. And you're experiencing this as a teenager. And yet you were still able to overcome, persevere, get through that. Can you again kind of unpack some of that mindset stuff that you were using at such an early age that maybe could help some people that are now staring at very similar situations?
And I have to be honest with you, I wasn't an avid reader then. Really not an avid reader now, even though I've read quite a few books. Some people are reading books a month, and I'm reading 3 a year. I remember reading books like, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I would just remember, and I don't know where it was embedded. I just knew that when I took risk, it just always led to a greater return. I just knew it. I just knew that the bigger the risk, the greater would be the return. And so I make a lot of decisions based on the risk level, even at 42. And I just truly believe in the law of reciprocity. I believe the more we give, the more we gain. And I didn't even know that was a law until my adult life, but I've just always had that belief system. The more I give, the more I will receive. The bigger the risk, the greater would be the return. So I knew every time someone would tell me I couldn't do it, I would do opposite. And I still do that today. If the masses are going right, I go left. I figure out something different.
Yeah, you do. No, I mean, that's it, right? And it might have been innate, right? I mean, I'm sure, it's a combination of everything, right? Parents, teachers, coaches, it doesn't take much. Sometimes it's something you see on TV. Sometimes it's a movie that you watch. I mean, like I often say, one of my mentors is Walter Payton, and I'm giving you a chance to drink your coffee, right? So one of my coaches is Walter Payton, and mentors. But I mean, the guy said one sentence to me: "Want to be great? Run hills." I saw him for 2 minutes on top of a hill in 8th grade. And we were messing around with a football, and he comes up to me and my buddy Jeremy Moss, who's one of my partners now. And he says, "Hey kids, want to be great? Run hills." So guess what we did? We ran hills. But it's this idea of speed implementation. And I don't know if you caught my intro of you, Claudienne, and I want to kind of fast forward a little bit here. Obviously now you're crushing it. I mean, let's take us through, towards the end of your real estate sales. And so where you were when you made the jump to EXP, but take me to that decision point. So back me up a little bit to where you were, top 5 out of 5,000 agents, and for 20 years at the same place. Like, talk me through some of that stuff.
So I get my license because I see the commissions, and I want to go back, if I don't mind, because I want to plug this in because this is important.
It's your show. Go ahead.
And I remember seeing those commissions, and I quit my job that day. And I was 21, Brian, and I would never recommend just leaving somebody's job and not giving them 2 weeks. I didn't know the etiquette. My parents didn't teach me that. I didn't know. And so I quit. I never went back. I just called and said, I'm not coming back. I didn't even know how to get my real estate license. I just knew that was what I wanted to do. A lot of people say money isn't important, but the minute the lights and the water can't get paid, how important is money? Money is very important. It's not the root of everything, but it's important. And so I've always wanted to make a lot of money so I could help a lot of people. One thing I struggled with is growing up was not being a part. So my parents were divorced. So my mom, was a single mom by the time I came around, and I'm not even going to tell you that story, but I just never felt a part. All of my friends on my block had both parents. They were never in trouble. They didn't really want to. And so I just said, you know what? I want to get to a place where I make people feel right and help people with my time. And so I become a real take the class in 1 week. Thank God it wasn't like 2 years. And I failed the test twice. Right. If anybody's from Miami, I'm 21, I'm partying, I'm just doing everything. And this is one of the reasons why I didn't want to go to school here. I knew I wouldn't be focused.
Don't feel bad. It took me 5 times, by the way.
There you go. I left here, went to Texas where there was nothing to do. I studied, came back, and banged the test out with no issue.
That's awesome.
One realtor of the year, not the number one, but the rookie of the year. And it just goes on from there. For 20 years, I'm giving to a company that was good to me. They weren't bad. They were good to me. But how many times do I say, how many people on here even today, if you can just flash your mics, how many people are ready to go from good to great? I was ready to go from good to great. Listen, I didn't leave to go to college because my mom mistreated me, because I didn't like her, because we didn't get along. I just needed to go and get some more experience. I needed to go from good to great in that moment of my life. And this just recently, less than 4 months ago, the same type of risk and opportunity graced itself again. And some of you on here may know my story, maybe not. But I had said no to EXP several times in the past. I had said no to coming to EXP because I was in mindset of retiring. And I knew that if I came over here, that I wasn't just going to lay down. I wanted to go to work. I was going to be, charged up again. And so I decided no at the time. But then I got an opportunity to be on one of Grant's shows. I don't even know how. They found me. They said, Claudienne, we want you to be a part of this show. And here I am, and I'm just going to call it for what it is. I see the flyer, and I'm just like, wow. I'm the only Black girl on here, to be honest. And so I said, I have a chance to represent for my people. I said, let me go back and look at EXP. I go back, I look at
before
EXP.
that was the show where it was you, Grant.
It was me.
Tarek. Heather Ray Young, Ryan Serhan.
I don't know any of these people. I don't know any.
Well, they're all famous.
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
They never told me who I was going to be on the panel with, but when I saw the flyer, I started doing research. I said, man, all these people got blue checks and millions of followers. Let me go do some investigating. And so it was an honor to be on the stage with people that, in my opinion, had reached some level of success. And I knew that there would be some impact there. And I said, you know what? I think I'm ready to go back to work. That day energized me. That day was the day that I said, you know what? I'm ready to go in go mode again. And so I did. And so 30 minutes after that phone call, I picked up the phone and called 3 people. One was my manager to tell her that I was leaving the Kai's company. Everybody was shocked, even me, because it's not something that I had anticipated. It was not something that I had anticipated. It was nothing that I had thought about, was thinking about. I was a definitive no. I was not coming. And I made that decision. I called my husband. I called Stormy Wellington. And I said, listen, I'm about to make a huge decision. I just need you guys to stand in the paint and do that meditation and prayer and affirmations like we normally do and pull me through.
Tell everybody who Stormy Wellington is.
So Stormy Wellington is the #1 network marketer in the world. Boom. Not female, not male, not Black, not white, not it. Just she is the #1 network marketer in the world, documented. And we've been friends since middle school. And so, I said, when I came over, I said, I got the best of both worlds. I've got the #1 network marketer. And then I've got an Elena Cardone. It was just like magic in the making. Yeah. It was magic in the making. And so I leave my company of 20 years. And Brian, there was nothing. And if I could be transparent, they offered me a lot to stay. And when I looked at what they offered me, I said, this is great. But I didn't flinch. I said, I don't want to be just good. I want to be great. I want to impact people across the world. I've been able to do in 90 days what I've not been able to do over 2 decades. And that's simple. It's been able to expand my business across 12 states, onboarding some agents in another country. I've never been able to do that because we didn't have the structure. And if you ever hear me talk, you always know since the day I started real estate. And by the way, when I got my license, I became a real estate investor at the age of 21, buying my first duplex. And it didn't stop there. I just bought a lot of properties throughout my career. But back to what I was saying is it was the timing. The timing was right. And then I said, man, people have been trying to get me to EXP for 2 years. I should have went back then, but I think I came at the right time.
Well, I would agree with that. And have you ever gone back and done the calculation on how much money you left on the table?
I don't even want to think about it. I don't want to.
It's a lot. Let me just say.
Yeah.
But I think you're going to make a lot more. And by the way, to use a Haas Pratt line, don't regret not joining sooner because you're going to regret not doing more worse. right? After you join. So don't regret not joining sooner. You're going to regret not doing more worse, right? So you've done a lot.
Exactly.
So take us up to today. And again, I want to reset the room. Thanks everybody for jumping in. This is Closers Club, Clubhouse show we do every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific time, 10 a.m. East Coast time. And we're guaranteeing it to be the best 90 minutes of your week. You know, it's a little bit of therapy. It's a little bit of inspiration. It's a little bit of meditation. It's a little bit of prayer work. We don't know what we're going to get. We do guarantee to bring some of the best guests. So flash your mics on and off if you're appreciating Claudienne's success. So far we've kind of went through the struggle story, the sob story. You got through it pretty quick. I mean, a lot of people are still living in their sob stories, right? And I want to kind of unpack some of that mindset stuff and really get granular with you here in a second. But I also want to do this. I want to give us a little bit of time. I want to kind of open it up to the people I pulled up on stage. I just started calling on some people, picking on some people that I know that you've already impacted, some people that know you well or getting to know you well. Does anybody got a question, comment?
I have a comment.
Go ahead.
I just love listening to you, Claudine, and I'm going to be over in October at Elena's and hope to meet you then. Anyway, but what you're talking about is what I've learned is called the power of your great within, because your subconscious mind obeys your conscious decisions. So anything you desire is achievable if you impact it strong enough on your subconscious. And what you were doing is you were just saying, I'm going to do this. It's like the winners stick with the winners. Yeah, for sure. But you are going to do this. You were not going to let anything happen. You made a conscious decision. And with that decision, you told your subconscious followed you and you won. And it is such a beautiful story. I love it. Thank you.
No, and I mean, Suzanne, I would put the two of you on my Mount Rushmore of powerful women. But just powerful people, like Claudienne said. I mean, you two are just. I mean, Suzanne's one of the, if not the best in my organization. Claudienne's going to give you a run for your money, though, Suzanne. All right, so and Suzanne welcomes that, by the way. so I love that. But and so do I. Well, hey, Michael, Alfonso, let me go to the co-host here.
I got a quick question. Well, Claudienne, thank you so much for your time. I mean, I have to tell you, Brian speaks about you all the time. She says, follow Claudienne, follow Claudienne.
Yeah.
I have to
duplicate.
I just have to ask you a quick question. How did you go from 0 to 100 so fast and so quickly, implementing what Storming Wellington taught you?
I just know that success loves speed. That was one of the things that I've learned from her. And I'd have to be honest, I just knew that if I came over here, I'd have to move fast. I've got to inspire. I've got to start calling again. And so I can't just use social media, even though I'm very heavy on social media. I went back to the basics. I went back to my phone. I went back to my database. I went back to every realtor that I'd ever worked with. I went back to using systems for a different level of attracting. I don't even like to say recruiting. I like to say attracting. And what I realized is that a lot of people are on the fence, but when I made the move, they shifted too. And two people were supposed to come with me. One came and one didn't. I'm going to see that person today at our in-person event. And I talked to my husband and I said, what if they don't come? He says, you keep going. Because
now, by the way, you had me on a Zoom call. It had to have been 1:30 in the morning your time. And I think that if we're talking about the same person here, I think
exactly.
Yeah. I was but let me share with you what you were doing. So, I mean, how many Zoom calls a day were you doing in those early, that first 30 days? Would you say?
I'd say about 1 to 2 a day. 1 to 2
a day. And then you were making multiple calls, plus you were tying into Elena's Zoom calls, right? So, you were probably, how many conversations a day were you having?
Many. I can't even count. I'm still having conversations today.
Yeah. You lost count. All right, go on.
And so, I'm glad you interjected, Brian, because this is important too. I only get on Elena's call because remember back then Elena was pretty new. We didn't really know a lot. And we were figuring it out. I got on your calls. I listened to what you were saying. I looked at the PDF of 44 pages every time you did it. I looked at Michael O'Malley's presentations. I looked at videos on YouTube. And I'll be honest with you, I used what I liked from everybody and just made it my own. And so how did I go from 0 to 100? Easy. Duplication. You know, I'd like to take all the credit, but I can't. But I've used people like Stormy Wellington. I've used the Elena Cardone. I've used Brian when I've needed him. I have even crossed and just used, I mean, I'm doing something in Alabama with Bobby in September. And we're not honestly in the same downline. But I've just learned how to collaborate. Collaboration and connections are so important.
That's so huge.
Bingo.
Great answer. Alfonso, so what are you thinking, brother?
Man, she just nailed it with that. Just, you know, collaboration, but just her energy, you could just hear it. Like you could hear it in her voice. And I think she just brings so much energy and you just want to be around it. Like straight up, like with her energy, just on the conversation, I'm like, I would chill with her any day just because I could feel it.
That's it. And you know, we're in the power and we're in the attraction business, you know, having that attractive personality helps, right? And you know, I would second that comment, Alfonso. I mean, I think Claudienne, you bring more energy and passion and raw enthusiasm, which are really the biggest attractors of all. I mean, if you're so like, I mean, I remember getting like frothing at the mouth, excited about pitching EXP. I remember I get that like little spittle worked up. I'd just be like chomping at the bit to tell him more. And I almost wouldn't take a breath for 50 minutes. And like, that was my number one. I didn't have a success story. You know, Claudienne didn't have a success story at EXP yet. She didn't have 6-figure checks to show people, right? She had 3 agents in her organization, you know, or 1, you know, she brought 1 with her. She didn't bring 100 agents with her. Right. And what are your numbers right now, Claudienne, by the way?
What numbers are those?
How many frontline and how many total org do you have?
I have 48 in my front line and 59 overall.
And you joined when?
A little
shy in what, March, April?
I joined the end of March, so April, May, June. So a little shy of 4 months because I didn't really get started for my first 3 weeks. Yeah. I spent that time kind of learning the system, understanding how to do strategy, understanding how I was going to build my organization, what I was going to be able to offer them. So I spent at least 2 to 3 weeks just kind of understanding the organization itself.
I mean, you almost have as many frontline agents as I have, and I've been here 12 years.
Well, guess what? And you're doing a lot better than me. So
now, listen, the number's a little skewed, but I mean, we, you know, and Suzanne and I, you know, we suffer from this, but I'll say I suffer no longer. But you know, this idea of we were building the arc. And now it was difficult to load the arc and build the arc at the same time, but we definitely, you know, we're bringing in a lot of people. They just didn't all end up under us, but
but we built a sturdy arc.
We built a big arc for a lot of people like Claudienne to come over and just crush it with. So we appreciate that, Claudienne. So again, I want to kind of go around the room a little bit more here. Does anybody else have any questions, comments? Johnny Mosley, go ahead, brother.
Hey, Brian, thanks for having me. I don't have a question, but a statement about Claudienne, in that we did an event earlier this year, where we were doing scenario training, how to handle ourselves in difficult situations. And out of everybody there, imagine being in a coffee shop and somebody else getting attacked. Most people would run away. And Claudienne actually ran toward to help that person. So a lot of people say that they are genuinely interested in helping people, but I saw firsthand that Claudienne is exactly who she says she is.
Yeah, and those weren't just like tough scenarios. I mean, those were life or death, you know, long gun shooters kicking in doors, people getting kidnapped in front of your eyes, you know, guns everywhere, you know, with real bullets that had paint in them. I mean, everybody was armed with like what are they? UTAs, military grade.
Causing bruises.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I got shot in the ribs by Elena. I still have a mark. But that's a great comment, Johnny. Like most people run from trouble. Claudienne was running towards trouble.
Yeah.
And not in a bad way.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not going to leave them behind. She needs help, and she ran toward trouble to help them. Yeah. And I ran away. I backed up at least about 30 feet.
Johnny's looking for cover.
You know what? I'm sitting here now and I'm like almost in tears because I always want to, let me tell you something. Just think about, and I want everybody to understand, like, this was not like you go to the gun range and you just shoot. Like, this was some real stuff, like real scenarios. And I just imagine myself at the counter having a gun pointed at me and somebody helping me. Yeah. And so when you think of it from that perspective, and I carry a weapon, I'm licensed, carry a weapon. Listen, you don't even want to come by my house, okay? And breaking and entering. But I always try to put myself in that person's shoes. And what would I want for me? I would want somebody to come and help me, not run. And so if I'm ever in a position or capable, I'm always there to help and assist.
I love that. Look, Christine, I think you popped your mic on. Tanya, go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, Claudienne, nice to meet you. I'm so impressed with not only, your story from good to greatness, but, one thing that I just kind of wanted to touch on, and you kind of glossed over it, is a lot of people think that people are just born into greatness. And, I love that you're just so authentic in sharing not only your successes, your relentless pursuit of success at that, but also the fact that, you weren't born into greatness. You were born with a single mom and you worked through and you didn't pass the test the first time, but you kept on going. And I think that, a lot of what, pursuing success is it's not, hitting the mark always the first time, but it's moving past those reactions that we all get on the road to success. And it's countering those reactions of maybe fear or, just feeling unsettled, and countering it with action. And I'm just hearing themes in your life, and just themes that are acquainted with success, that, hey, we might feel one way, but we do something different, and we keep on going. So just appreciate all your shares this morning, Claudienne.
Thank you. And I want to piggyback off of that. It's not that I don't get discouraged sometimes, and sometimes I wish I would have gotten there first, or I've lost listings, I've lost clients, but I've also gained a lot, and I've gained a lot of wisdom. And I've just, for anybody on this call right now that's like down and out, or you're lost, I was on a training last night, and that's another thing. Never stop learning. And from the 10X community, he says the trainer says, have a success calendar. Every morning you should have a success calendar. What are the odds? He talked about Grant writing down his goals every morning and every night. Just think for a second. If you took 30 days and just did something different, you wrote your success, your goals down in your success calendar every day, every morning, every night, and you came up with a routine, what if it really worked? Like, even when I came to EXP, one of the things was, and can I share this, Brian? I don't want to take over the room.
Nothing's off limits cool. In here.
I was able to buy Google stock in my early 20s, and back then you had to be selected to buy the stock. And I bought a ton of stock. I did very well, but I sold it very prematurely. And I made a lot of money, but I could have been a multi-millionaire today. And I sold my stock prematurely. And then I looked at Bitcoin. My girlfriend says, Claudienne, you should buy Bitcoin. I think it was like 200 a coin. So this was way back when. And I thought she was insane. I was like, we're never getting rid of the dollar and that currency. And you don't know what you're talking about. And I should have listened. 2 years later, I'm entering a property on the MLS where it says the multiple listing service, if everybody's not a realtor here, it's a system we use to upload properties. And it gives you an area where you can put up desired or the type of financing that you can have. And Bitcoin came up. I said, oh, crap. I go and look at the Bitcoin. It's now $2,000 a coin. And I'm like, crap, I lost out again. But if I would have known Bitcoin would have gone to $60,000 a coin, I would have bought it 2,000. And so when I came over to EXP, the biggest thing, Brian, for me is, what if this is it? I'm doing well financially, but I wanted to go from good to great. What if this is an opportunity that could take me from good to great? I can do the impact that I want to do at a global level. What if this stock now gets from $30, I think it was like $20 at the time, to now $1,000 a share? What if I can be a part of this growth? And so I said, you know what if? I don't want to miss another opportunity that I could be great with. It's in my industry. I know network marketing, even though this is not network marketing, but I apply a lot of the tools. But what if? And that's why I came over. I said, I don't want to live my life hoping and thinking I shoulda, coulda, woulda. I want to take risk. And people will say, you're too old to take risks. I'm not old. I'm young enough. I'm still capable to work. And listen, I'm ready to go.
Can I jump in for a comment, Brian?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to, it's just a comment. Claudienne, I really admire you. We all have a lot of people. I think you came in at the perfect time, to be honest with you, because if you go around the room, Christina, Michael, Brian, there's so many people that has very similar stories, and I can relate to you in so many ways because, I've been in real estate for 20 years, and we're about the same age, and just I was recruited by EXP many times to try to come over. But what I admire about you is that you were at somewhere for 20 years. I'm not an advocate for the shiny penny syndrome where you just jump on the next train, every time something comes along, but you were somewhere for 20 years and you could have gotten complacent and you didn't. You saw an opportunity to get better, to reach more people, to make a better life for you and your family. And, they had the discernment and the, the massive action to take that action. So just, a lot of admiration for you, Claudienne.
What if it
I
works?
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian, can I piggyback on that, man?
And absolutely, Trey.
So I think your story is super inspiring, Claudienne, and I think the commitment and the decision and all of that is what really changed, every of those moments in your life that you talked about. You said, the bigger the risk, the bigger reward. Well, I think the bigger the commitment, the bigger the opportunity. And I think it comes down to just belief in yourself. There's a verse on the prayer wall at my gym. It says, what if this was the moment for which you were created? And I think that's how we have to go into every single opportunity, just making that decision, that commitment that, what if this is the moment I was created for? And I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, doing the things I'm exactly supposed to be doing too. So super inspiring. Thank you for taking the time to be in here.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, just, I could share a lot of similar stories about, like Michael O'Malley, for example, or, a lot of folks that maybe came, or Haas Pratt is a great example, right? Haas came over when he was supposed to come over, right? A lot of people say, well, if you would have joined sooner, you could have had Jay Kinder and you could have Brent Gove under you. And he goes, yeah, but I wouldn't have had Tarek and Elena. Right? Think about that for a second. Like if you would have just come over 2 weeks earlier, you could have had all these superstars in your downline. He's like, yeah. And he's literally said that right back to me without missing a beat. He goes, yeah, but I wouldn't have Tarek. I wouldn't have Elena. I was like, damn, you are good, dude. Anyways, but that's a great point, Bobby. And, it's the right time for you when it's the right time for you, right? I mean, you can sit there and count all the money you maybe would have lost. And I like doing that for people who haven't joined, but, I don't recommend it for you if you have already joined, because again, that's going to do you no good. You're going to regret not doing more than you're going to regret not joining sooner. Right. So you're going to, you don't regret not joining sooner because you're going to regret not doing more worse. Okay. But make that into a t-shirt. But I like the concept of what if it works? What if this actually does turn into the next Apple stock or the next Amazon stock? By the way, guys, if you don't know Glenn Sanford, let me just put this out there. Glenn Sanford is the kind of guy, he's not trying to make a run at Gary Keller. He's not trying to make a run at, Realogy. He's making a run at Jeff Bezos. He's going to shoot for that kind of stuff. He's going to go after, Branson. He's chasing those guys, right? He's not chasing Gary. Okay. I mean, he's probably already caught him. He's chasing the best of the best. He's chasing Gates. So if you don't know Glenn, let me just share with you guys, he wants to be number one, not just number one in real estate, like number one. So therefore EXP is his vehicle. He's going to want that company to be the biggest company in the world. So I just want to throw that out for everybody. And Susanna, am I lying?
No, I was getting ready to say, and I second that. It's honestly, that is exactly where he's going.
Yeah.
And he has a will beyond any sort of, it's not about the skill. It's about the will.
Wow. Make that into a shirt.
Everything he has.
Matt, did you write that one down? It's not about the skill. It's about the will. A lot of great lines. So I pulled up a few more people. We got Ashley up here. She was down at Operation 10X Badass. We got Carrie. We got Andrew Saley. Catalina's up here. Katie Spanier. Does anybody have a question or a comment for Claudienne?
Brian, I have a praise and a comment for our girl.
Go ahead, Tanya.
This is Tanya Chambers. I'm in Fredericksburg, Texas. I was in Miami at 10X Stages in May. And from just hearing her story and how she's been building and when she came on and when she was actually like introduced and how she, put her whole self out there is so amazing to me that I met her in May in Miami. And then I got back here and I started putting together this large commercial investment project and I was nervous about it. So I just texted her and she just called me right back, like 5 seconds later, like she's just on the phone with me. And I'm like, hey girl. And she's just helping me and talking me through this investment project and like, all the numbers and everything and just giving me, her pro experience from all of her investments that she's done with herself and her mama. And I couldn't believe that was like the time that she was staying up all night on calls and everything with you and building her team out like she was and doing all of that.
And she made time to share with you.
And just called me, to help me through something. And I'm not, I'm not on her downline either. I mean, we both have Elena on our teams, but I just want to just say that, that I'm just so thankful for her taking that time. And that just speaks to how big her heart is. And I think God's going to do even bigger things for her.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Claudia. Yeah, no.
No. Thank you. Brian, just before you start, I do want to mention this. I remember that conversation. I was walking outside of the front of my house with you, and it was a great conversation. It was great energy. I want to say this. People say, well, how did you make a decision in 30 minutes? When you do the work, guys, you don't got to take 1 week to be praying and asking God, because when you do the work before, I pray, meditate, and affirm every morning like clockwork. I've been doing it for years, probably over a decade. When you are in alignment, you are now in position to make those decisions when you need to make those decisions. And it's not all the time that you need to make a rash, quick decision, but sometimes you do. And so I'm glad you brought up that piece, because I think if we do more of the work, I always say this, if I ask, just unmute your mic if you know the answer to this. What's 1 + 1, guys?
11.
Exactly. Math.
2.
Yep.
You get it. But if I tell you my thoughts become things, people don't tend to believe it. People don't believe because it's not really scientific actually, I believe it is scientific, but because we weren't taught and it's not embedded in our brains from when we were in grade school, people don't really believe in the ability to be able to dream your way through. Even myself, I find that I fall off sometimes and I say, Claudienne, why didn't you hit your goal? I know I didn't hit my goal. I didn't exercise every day like I used to. But now, guess what? When you stay connected, Stormy works out every day like clockwork. Brian works out every day like clockwork. I saw Michael O'Malley about 2 months ago. He was a little thick. And I saw him again recently. I said, oh my God, you look amazing. You don't even look the same. And so I'm plugged in, and guess what? I'm back on my routine. And so we got to stay plugged in. We've got to stay energized. We've got to stay connected in collaboration. And I don't talk to Brian every day, and I don't want to talk to Brian every day. Brian has more important things to do than to be listening to Claudienne every day. But when I can add value to Brian, I want to be able to add value to Brian. I'm always, Brian, what could I do to help you? If you need me, I'm there. Not coming with my problems, guys. We got to stop doing that. We've got our own problems.
So I've always noticed this, Claudienne, that the people who do the most can do so much more too. Like I'll share a quick two thoughts. And by the way, for those that are pray, and you should pray to the Lord to allow me to take more action. Pray to the Lord to allow me to implement more of what I already know I should implement. Like, you should be praying for that kind of stuff instead of praying for someone to come save you. Pray for the ability to do more. Pray for the ability to, help more people. Pray for that kind of stuff, because I think that is more scientific, by the way. That will, she said it's embedded in our brain. You're literally embedding these things into your brain tissue. So start, praying is just a form of mantraing. Right. I mean, it's got a lot more connotations to it, but I'd say it's at the basic level, it's no different than a chant, than a positive affirmation, than so think about the word, the first, it starts with the thoughts, then it's the words, that come out of your mouth, then it's the actions you take. And they should be in alignment, because that'll allow you to vibrate at the highest form of vibration, which is authenticity. But the other thing I want to share was when I was just kind of a glorified paper boy delivering papers for a commercial real estate trade magazine all throughout Chicago. And it was literally bitter cold. This was the right before I ended up leaving Chicago. It was like bitter cold. You had to take the subway, the sub alley pathways between the big skyscrapers. And, if you even stepped on the top level, it was like the hawk was going to get you. The wind chill would just freeze your hands, freeze your eyeballs. And so we would be running around. I'd just taken a job for a new paper, commercial real estate magazine called Heartland Real Estate Business. It was just coming out, brand new. Nobody knew of it. So I took these papers. I literally had like a paper satchel. I ran around Chicago, got one pair of nice shoes, getting them all, salty, and just ruined my shoes, running around. And I was hand delivering papers to every CEO and top person in every major company in Chicago. I mean, the REITs, the developers, the insurance companies, the law firms, the employees, teachers unions, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm running around delivering to all these top level people. I didn't even have business cards. I just wrote my name on a piece of scratch paper with my phone number and my email. Okay. I must have handed that paper out to 500 executives throughout Chicago in a 2-week period. And I got one call back. And it was from the number one. It was from the number one commercial real estate outfit, Trammell and Crow, right? Number one guy, biggest executive. I mean, number one on the list. And this is the guy that calls me back. And not 499 losses and one win. And it's not an accident that the person who's doing the most, the guy that needed me the least, was the guy who called me the first. And so that's very symbolic of what, Claudienne is, what you just shared, Tanya, is, the person that should have the least amount of time to call you back is the first one to call you back, right? And that's the same with Glenn Sanford, right? Glenn, sat through that 10X Growth Con 5 days straight, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., front row Joe, didn't miss a thing, didn't miss a breakout session, didn't miss a party, didn't miss any of it. And Grant literally noticed and said from stage, the guy who needs it the least was here the most. So just everyone should be kind of checking themselves on some of this stuff, right? I mean, I hope this is putting a pit in a few people's stomachs, because, I talk to a lot of folks that are in this room, and I hope everyone's taking something away from this. So let's keep going around the room. This is good. We're at the top of the hour. We're going to do this for another 20, 30 minutes if we can keep it, Claudienne. I'd love to have a few more people get a chance to communicate with you, reach out, share a story, whatever. So we got Brian Hissey's up here, Rudy. We've got Sharika. Anybody else want? Christina? Anybody want to jump on, throw the mic out? Go ahead.
Hey, Claudienne, I just want to say great story, and I love your energy, like everybody's saying. Pleasure having you here. I have a question. What does your day look like? What do your days look like?
So my days. So what I didn't share with you guys is I got a 27-year-old and a 9-month-old. And so, yeah, we have a living nanny, but we take, my son is with me at night and, you know, during the day. But I wake up very early. So I wake up at about 5:30 a.m. My husband prays. We meditate and we do our affirmations. And we've been doing it so long, we just say them together and with my youngest son. And so that's where the start of my day, before I pick up the phone. And I'm not going to lie, sometimes I pick up my phone first. I'm not perfect, but he'll quickly autocorrect and he'll say, come on, let's get into prayer. And so I do that. And then I go into my day. A lot of people like to schedule their days the day of. I schedule my days the day before. So at night, I already know what I need to do for the next day. So you need to schedule that day. I learned that from Stephen Covey. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but he's like the master of planning. And so years ago, I've taken his class. I've learned how to prioritize and how to organize. It does not mean that I don't drift off. I do. Sometimes when I don't, I'm all over the place and I'm like, you know what? It's because I didn't plan the day before. And so that's what my days look like. I work out, and to be honest with you, I fell off for a couple months, but I'm back. I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, but I'm back and fully back to working out. So I work out at about 6:30 a.m. in the morning and I get my day started. I get my day started in what I need to do for the day. Now, I think everybody here needs to set targets. I don't care what business you're in. Everybody needs to set targets. And so my target is I need to have 100 people in my business. I need to impact and inspire and help people to collapse my 2 decades of experience into 2 and 3 years. And I believe it can be done. But I can't just say that, right? So I need to hit targets. So September 1st, I'm telling you what I'm doing. September 1st, I'm launching. I didn't wait for Brian to connect me to my upline or my downline. I can go into your systems, and I don't know who's with EXP or whatever it is that you're doing, take the information and apply it to what you do. And I reached out to all of my upline, and I asked them to be a guest on my show. And I don't want to tell everybody who I'm working with, but my upline is my upline. Brian, you know my upline. So I didn't wait for Brian to make the connection. I kept inboxing, and he finally responded and said, Claudienne, I'm never in my inbox, but I love that you were here in my inbox. Send me an email. We'll definitely get it done. So you can't give up. There's nobody too big for you not to be able to reach out. But let me tell you something. I knew that I needed to put numbers on the board. I make very good money, but I don't have millions and millions and millions of dollars. So I'm not there yet. But I knew I would catch the attention of my upline because I knew that I could bring in some business to EXP. So my first thing was to show myself approved, that I was going to work, that I was going to do it 102%, okay, 110%. And now when I need them, they're not saying, why do we have to come over here with Claudienne? She's not even doing anything. No, they're excited because I'm putting numbers on the board. They're excited because I don't have 2 people on my call. I have 40 people on my call. Well, Claudienne, how did you do that? All right, here's what I'm doing. I'm planning my day. I'm creating little systems. And for you, some of you guys that don't have the money yet, you can create a Linktree for free. It's like free for 3 links and then $6 for like unlimited links. And you can even beautify the page. Like what I see them doing with Linktree these days is amazing. It's literally $6. You've got to create systems. I have 42 people coming to be with me in Elena today at an in-person. I don't want Elena inviting me to a meeting and inviting my team and we show up with 2 people. Oof. No, I'm going to fill half the room. And so I'm now going to work. I'm putting numbers on the board. And how do I do that? I use my Instagram. I use my stories. Click the link in my bio. Always have a plan of action, a call to action. Guys, some of you guys are just posting pictures. You're not even telling people what to do. And the truth is, even I need to be told what to do.
And by the way, can I share something? I mean, Elena has a Zoom call this morning with a major I was up at 6 a.m., spent 45 minutes walking Elena through a new spreadsheet so she could not only pitch it at her 10 o'clock, it was 9 o'clock for her. So she had a 10 o'clock Zoom call. She's got a lunch and learn today with 80 people, 40 of which Claudienne's bringing. And, I'm just saying, a lot of people are probably sitting there going, oh, well, yeah, she's famous. No, they are working circles around everybody. I mean, they're working circles around me. Go ahead.
You're not playing. Let me tell you, I don't care what people say, how famous Elena is. That lady was excited about her $606 check.
Yeah, right.
Which was the first check. She's like, Claudienne, you got to see this. I don't believe it. I have not even done any deals. I don't understand how I got $606. And I'm on the other line thinking, why is she so excited? I'm talking about they're millions away from being billionaires at the time.
No. Oh, yeah.
And right. And she says, Claudienne, this is important because if I can do it not doing any deals, that means that this can be duplicated and it's real. And so you're right, Brian. Like, she is going to work. Like, we're going on tour. This is not, I'm waiting for Grant. I'm waiting for this person.
No, she's the last text I get and the first text I get every day. I mean, I get texts from her at 2 a.m. my time. That's 5 a.m. her time. I'm up by 5 a.m. I'm up late. She's still texting me till probably 1 o'clock her time in the morning. And so absolutely. I mean, I'm telling you, they eat, sleep, and breathe this. Claudienne is right there every step of the way. And some levels, she's taken it to the next level because she brought all her experience in her game. And she's a 22-year real estate veteran. So she brings all of that to the table. Elena wasn't even in, really real estate. They were investors, but they weren't, in the traditional real estate game like we are. Most of us are. So listen, I want to do a couple little housekeeping pieces real quick, folks. Here's the deal. If you like the people on stage, you like the questions, obviously follow Claudienne. You can jump on her Instagram. You can hit her up with a back channel. If you guys click on her profile, there's a little, at the top, there's a little leaf. It looks like a little upwards arrow. You can actually hit her with a DM on the down low here. If you got any questions, comments, want to share something with her, anything that she said today that was impactful. Here's the other thing, and by the way, Closers Club, we do this every Wednesday, 10 a.m. East Coast, 7 a.m. Pacific. And is this not the best? So far, it's been the best 60 minutes of your week. Come on. Brian Hisse, is this the best 90 minutes of your week, brother?
Hey, Brian, it's Christina. I wanted to jump in.
Well, wait, before we do jump in, I just want to finish up the housekeeping. Hold on a sec. Hold that thought, Christina. I'll go to you next. Brian, what did you say?
It is. I couldn't get my mic to turn on.
Brian calls me every week. He goes, I literally was in tears again today over today's Closers Club. Like, we're both sitting here like you shedding tears every other day. But is this not the best or what?
It really is. I haven't asked for a refund once.
I got a couple. No, I'm kidding. Some little thing. I go through the audience. I click on pretty much everybody's profile throughout the call. And a lot of folks don't even have anything in their bio. They have no description of who they are, what they're doing. And I'm just telling you, if you guys are taking anything away from Claudienne, it's words matter. What you call yourself matters. How you think of yourself matters. And I may it sound silly and stupid, but like what you put into your bio, your signature line, that's why we like to call ourselves shareholders at EXP. It's much better than an independent contractor, right? I'm a shareholder. It's a mindset shift. And so we're giving you these great tools in order for you to unlock yourself from the prison of your own thoughts and your own words. Because make no mistake about it, if you're feeling trapped, if you're feeling run down, if you're feeling like you're not getting a fair shake, or somebody's holding you back, I'm telling you, it's you that's holding yourself back. Look no further than the mirror for all of your issues. Okay? Nobody else is in control of your issues. No parent, no spouse, no child, no boss, no team leader. None of them are in control of your destiny. The only thing that controls your destiny are the thoughts that you have and the words that come out of your mouth and the things that your hands and feet touch. And that's it. So look no further than that. Claudienne, what do you think of that?
No, I'm just giving you, you just hit it. So I just wanted to clap.
Yeah, that was on point, 100%.
Right. And I mean, by the way, I'm a walking, talking, thinking example, testimonial, living proof. You know, I've done it the other way. You know, I used to be a little like blamey and a little like you know, and I'm a little bit of a victim here and there. And I remember hearing my parents have a lot of that kind of that victim mindset. And, you know, again, if you think about it, you know, winners make it happen, losers let it happen. Make it, let it, you know, wish for it or do it, you know, pray for it or go out and take action for it. You know, you're seeing these common themes over and over and over, but that's why I keep trying to drill these home, because I just think it's so important. I know I talk to a lot of people and you can almost hear the issues in the first sentence they have. I mean, if you're sensitive enough and you do this enough, like what we do, you know, what do I do for a living? I have 1,000 conversations a week for a living over the phone. I don't get to see people. I don't get to look at their face normally. I'm looking either at an avatar or maybe a Zoom call or usually over the phone and so I have to pick up certain cues, you know, like the words that they say, the questions that they ask, the tone of their voice, the energy level, you know, those are the things that I'm sort of scoring people on. And so and if you notice Claudienne, you know, Lisa Copeland, you know, certainly the Elena Cardone, you know, Grant Cardone, you know, all of these folks, Ryan Seiko, you know, Gary Brecka, you know, a lot of the guests we have on here, they are word scientists. Like Brandon Dawson, like nothing comes out of his mouth that is not the most perfect word choice, the most perfect thought. I mean, I shouldn't say most perfect, but like he's definitely, now it gets to be automatic, but in the short run, you got to really think about it. You know, you got to really monitor and sort of thought police yourself. You know, I just sat down with a gentleman who did a week-long a monastery experience, right? O'Malley, where'd he go? He did a week-long of no talking.
Yeah, he did a week of no talking in India.
But he even said that if you had a thought, you had to just move that thought out of he goes, we all had thoughts. You just had to like move that thought, just push it out. You know, just push those thoughts out. And so think about that. That's like mental training. That they're basically, it's manifesting training. You know, you're
I love that.
You're training your brain. So
Brian, it's Christine. I want to just add to that.
Please, jump in.
One of the best things that I love about EXPN, by the way, I love Claudienne. There's just so much value that she brings. And Claudienne, I can't wait to see you in about an hour or so. So much value, always pouring into people and sharing and being vulnerable. I mean, I think this organization is really sculpting and bringing leaders because, you know, Brian, you inspire me so much because, you know, you shared your story so vulnerably and just watching how much you've grown also, and leveling everybody up to do bigger and better things. For example, the whole thoughts and mindset stuff, right? I mean, I just realizing I have too much time on my hands. And the more freedom I have, the more I have space for those thoughts. So the faster I work, the more I do, the more results. And it's definitely so important how you talk to yourself, the words that come out of your mouth. But that starts with the foundation, right? You wake up, you prime, you do your journaling, you do the praying. It's so critical just to master that because that pours out through every aspect of your day. So I love what you guys are doing. You're literally bringing out leaders in this organization because people that get it, you know, we're just all leveling up.
And I see what you do. You are right there. You're implementing is fat. You know, Glenn used to say, you know, they think nothing's faster than the speed of light. He'd say the only thing faster than the speed of light is speed to implementation. So I don't know, let that swizzle around for a second. But I want to do this too, and thank you so much, Christina. And you are absolutely on point. I want to make sure we keep going around the room a little bit. You know, I think obviously a lot of thoughts flying around, a lot of stuff. I want to kind of bring this back. I want to see if anybody has any more questions. Then we're gonna let Claudienne take us home. But I pulled up a few more people. We got JC. You raise your hand, JC. Jana, I pulled you up, Jay. Anybody have a question or a comment?
Hey, Brian, can I actually say something?
Please, go ahead, Shrika.
Hi, Brian. So I'm Sharika. Hi, guys. And I just wanted to thank Claudienne for sharing her story. Like, I'm sitting here literally, like, just in tears because it means so much when you meet someone who looks similar to you, you know, and represents so well, and also has a similar story. I had my son when I was 17 years old. Nobody thought I would graduate high school, and I did. Been successful in real estate, signed up for Elena's team. Instantly, I met Letty. She mentioned, you should join 10X Estates. I'm like, okay. And I didn't think twice. And here I am. Now I'm figuring out how to, you know, just take action. I'm mimicking what you guys are doing. And I just want to thank you guys for being so transparent and paving the way for others to be successful. So.
Oh, that is a great comment. Thank you for sharing that. And, you know, and the paving the way is, you know, we're just dropping clues, you know, we're just sharing. And Claudienne is the best example. I mean, Claudienne gets in my bculhane group and she shares, she doubles down, she edifies. You know, she redirects people to, if I make a post that's impactful, she comes back over the top and goes, Brian, that was really impactful. Everyone in here should be listening to that, right? So she's not just working down, she's working up. You know, she's working with me. She's helping me help the rest of my organization, right? These aren't people in her downline. These are people in my downline. And so she's working in every direction, every person she touches, she's impacting for the better. And that is, if I could give anybody a compliment, that would be the highest compliment I could give somebody. So let's keep going around the room. Anybody else? Question, comment? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in here real quick, Brian. Thank you
Yes,
so much for bringing me up. And it's just so inspiring, you know, getting to hear Claudienne's story. I absolutely love it, you know. Every single excuse or doubter, you know, she just eats them for breakfast and just, like, keeps going forward. And she knew, like, what she was capable of, and she's always stood up to her potential no matter what. So, I mean, it's just so inspiring to hear, and it's just so amazing to have like this many leaders and people that are willing to do like whatever it takes to succeed and really truly want everybody else to win. Thank you so much, Claudienne, for sharing.
You know, I had a thought earlier and I wanted to share this and I just forgot and now I remembered is, you know, even look, it never ends, by the way. Like I'm sure some people are looking at Claudienne and me and going, oh, you guys are there, so you got it made. You know, but here's the thing. I'll share with you a really kind of recent example of this. You know, for years, I told myself a stupid story, right? It was, hey, I was a caddy growing up. I used to get up before the sun all the time. I've made it. I've got some wealth in the bank. I've earned the right to sleep in. Okay. And I've said that up until very recently. And I remember when I brought O'Malley in for the first time back, 3-4 years ago, he was challenging me. He's like, man, I wake up every day. I get to the gym by 5 a.m. You want to meet me at the gym at 5 a.m.? And I was kind of gut checking him. I'm like, you want to jump in some cold water? I'll meet you at the gym if you jump in cold water. I met him at the gym one time just because he had jumped in cold water. So I had to, turnabout's fair play. Right. So I go meet him. I meet him at the gym 5 a.m. I'm like, I hate being up this early. Like I really, really hate it. And then, as I've got into biohacking, I started to, meet with some other people and like, everyone's kind of like, yeah, no, you get up early. And then, I'm just like, yeah, but getting up early, like, you need sleep. And even like Troy Casey's like, no, you got to sleep. You got to be gentle. And you only heal when you sleep. And, and now here's the key. If you want to get up early, you got to go to bed early, by the way, right? You can't be up till 1 a.m. and then try and get up at 5 a.m. because, you're going to be killing yourself. But basically, I started picking up a little piece of information here, a little piece of information there. I started learning about how certain, what we're talking about yesterday, Michael, certain ultraviolet rays come through at dawn and dusk. Certain things are unlocked in your brain. Your certain algorithms or certain wavelengths are achieved at certain early morning hours that aren't achieved throughout the rest of the day, where you're really open to creative thoughts and, coming up with great brainstorm stuff at like 4 or 5 a.m. And so when I came back from the last real estate summit in Miami, and I'm seeing how Elena and Grant are kickboxing every morning, and I'm seeing how Ryan Seiko's running on the beach with Gary Brecka and their little crew every morning. They're running on the beach. They're doing their Wim Hof before the sun comes up, and I'm just like, you know what? I gotta start getting up early. And so what did we start? We started a group, right? The 6 and 6. We're getting up every morning. We're getting to the gym by 6 a.m. I'm getting up with the sun, and I'm literally having the most amazing thoughts. My life is like getting way better than it was even 6 months ago, 3 months ago, right? I'm leveling up, and I can feel it. I can see it. Like my entire day's better for it. And I used to have this crazy, stupid, shitty little story that I would tell myself that I didn't like getting up early. I've earned the right to not have to get up early. You know, so I was just completely negatively programming myself, or I had some stupid little excuse or some stupid little thing that was preventing me, or was a lid on my way of thinking that was preventing me from leveling up.
Brian, guess where we are right now?
Where are you? In the steam room?
We're in the cold water right now in the gym.
Who's with you?
Judd.
Judd, what's up, guys?
What's up, everybody? Good morning.
All right, well, don't get in trouble filming in the men's room, man. You'll get yourself kicked out of there real fast. No, good stuff, guys. So that's it, right? So now I'm jumping in cold water every morning, 6 a.m., working out a little bit. I got my little accountability group that's meeting me over there. You know, days I don't want to go, guess what? I get a text from Judd or Michael or Cody or my brother or somebody going, who's going to be here today? And I'll just look at my wife. I'm like, God damn it, I got to go. And so I go, and I'm like, God damn it, I'm so glad I went. You know, like it's literally like the hardest part of getting up early and going to the gym is getting out of bed. If you can just get out of that bed and just start moving towards that gym, you'll get there. You'll have a great workout and you'll feel 10 times better in the morning. So, all right, well, hey, we got about 15 minutes left. Claudienne, if you'll be so bold to stick around and maybe take a few more questions, comments.
Be in business with you.
But let's go. Go ahead.
So I say a lot of different things depending on who I'm speaking to. So you first have to identify who you're talking to. And I'm going to tell you, if you guys aren't plugged into the trainings and Brian, a lot of the stuff I've picked up from them. And I'll give you one example. To some of my brokers that have come over who are doing millions and millions a year, I'll say, hey, listen, do you have room for another $3 to $4 million a year utilizing real estate as a vehicle outside of the same? Yes. And I either pick up the phone or let's connect. What's a good time? I plug them into my calendar. I'm going to tell you, people love when you plug them into the calendar and they have to accept the invite. I don't know. It just makes them feel special. So I'll do that. And then I'll have a conversation with them. And depending on who it is,
we lost her.
We lost you, Claudienne. I never know if that's me or if that's Claudienne or the guest. Claudienne, if you can, try getting your mic back on. I don't know if your connection, but you were like literally about to say the most profound thing ever.
My last company. He's interesting. And so I have to determine who I'm speaking to. I'm also through social media. And I want you guys to realize just because you're not texting, there's different ways of communication. And so I communicate through my story. I communicate through my energy. I communicate through my post. I communicate through a lot of different ways. And sometimes I'll even list all the things. Listen, Grant did a platform. I didn't change what he wrote. I copied and pasted. I'm duplicating.
Right.
I copied and pasted. And I, you know what? This is a good one. I'll write on my post, is the current company you're with, okay? Do you have ownership in the company? They're going to say no, because no other real estate company gives it to you unless you're like high exec, right? Do you have health benefits, health options, health insurance options? They're going to say no. What other real estate company is offering an outlet to have some type of health insurance? None. And so I make sure that I identify what I know other companies don't have. And then I take the profit sharing portion and I say, who wants to make an extra 25 up to 25%? So what I've done is strategically added all the percentages in the profit sharing side. And it's about 25% if you just add them all, the whole column up. And I say, who wants to make an additional 25% by inviting people to the company? Who's going to say no? And so then I say, if this is you, click the link in my bio or click this link. And I encourage all of you to go to my bio, go to the link that's there that says Realtor Expansion. If you're going to go through the links, just put test as your name so I know to delete you out of my CRM and copy it. I know how many years they've been in real estate. I know if they have license or not. I know what state they're going to be licensed in. I know what their goals are because I asked them all that information in the link. So now I know who I'm talking to when I pick up the phone and call them. And then I don't have my assistants call these people. I call them. They want to talk to me. So I call them. It's not going to be like that forever, but this is new for me. So guess what? I'm now making the effort to call each and every person that fills out that link. And I say, listen, some people don't want to be on a Zoom with 80 other people. Some people are very private, especially if I'm meeting with a broker that has 180 agents. I can't just put her in a classroom or him in a classroom and on a Zoom. So I'm doing a private executive luncheon with her and him to bring them into the company. And so the first thing you got to do, guys, is identify who you're talking to. The next thing you have to do is talk to them. And you know what? Leave no stone unturned. The people who you think will say no will say yes. And the people who you think will say yes will say no. And guess what? I said no for 2 years and I'm in EXP. So keep going.
That's it. Well, listen, I pulled up a few more people. Jana, go ahead, please.
That was my question. Thank you, Claudienne. I appreciate you. This is Jana Cloud.
Yeah.
Can I jump in real quick?
Please.
This is Lori from Birmingham.
Please, Lori.
I didn't know this is my first time on here, so I didn't know if the flashing of the mic was the equivalent to jumping up and down with my hand raised.
Little bit.
I wanted to say, Claudienne, I am so excited to meet you when you come to our event in September. And two of the themes that I have kind of recognized today are, and this is huge to me, confirmation and affirmation. So I heard you guys talk about, you kind of think maybe I should have come to EXP sooner, or, what did I miss out on? That's a defeated mindset. You really can't think that way. But one of the things that's so great about being on this call today is, so I was recruited, not to toot my own horn or whatever, but I had people from all over the place. Like places that I didn't even know that were calling me, asking me, want me to come to EXP, telling me about all the perks and, why I should be a part of it. And the business model was undeniable, right? So I looked at it but I just didn't feel it. Like I did not feel like this was it. This was not the time. And really, so the broker that I was under at my old place, he left and went to EXP. And he told me about it, and I considered it and everything. And I knew I was going to EXP, but I just told him it's not time yet. I just don't feel like it's time yet. And Bobby Jones called me up and told me about the team that he was on with Elena and everything that was going on. And when I looked at that, I thought, okay, these are my people. So, and the first time that I heard you talk, Claudienne, it clicked for me because I thought, this woman has been where I've been. She knows what I know. She has lived what I've lived, and she is doing this in a huge way. And a lot of times, everybody's talking about prayer, mantra. Really and truly what it is speaking things that are not as though they were. And then you get your work ethic and everything that you've got to align with those things that you are speaking. And there's no other option but for it to manifest.
And Lori, can I add to that? It doesn't take 8 years worth of meditating to figure this out. Like you could literally change it with the next sentence that comes out of your mouth. If you think about that Jesse Isler story where he was trying to run the 100-mile marathon and Dave Goggins was sitting next to him shouting at him after his body broke down at the 50-mile mark, and he said, I can't take another step. He said, no, don't say that. Say, I don't feel pain, I don't quit. And then take a step. And he goes, I don't feel pain, I don't quit. And he takes a step. And he goes, now say it again. I don't feel pain, I don't quit. And take a step. And he's like, I don't feel pain, I don't quit. I take a step. And then he did this, and he did it, and he did it, and he did it. And next thing you know, he hits the 100-mile mark. So please, sorry, Lori, let Lori finish her thought. Go ahead, Lori.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that I had been searching for, so that's what I was searching for. I had been searching for like-minded individuals that understood those concepts and that I could build an empire with, because the sky's the limit. That's what my plan is. But it's also built on, like all these people have said today, helping people get to their next level, and then their next level, and then their next level. And when you do that, it just snowballs. So not only have I gotten confirmation today that I made that decision at exactly the right time, because if I had jumped earlier, I wouldn't have been in this group today. Right. So that's huge for me. Beautiful. I can't wait to meet you, Claudia. You're my kindred spirit, girl.
That's beautiful.
Well, I will be there, and thank you for that. And you guys got to realize too, all the compliments, it just affirms, and I'm actually taking notes, and I'm being featured on the call. I'm always a student. And so I just told my husband, I said, I need a coach. I need you to make sure I'm up working out every morning with you. He doesn't miss a beat. I don't care if
It's called Siri. Just every night before you go to bed. Siri, set my alarm for 4:45.
Exactly.
That's your coach. Well, listen, I saw Catalina popped her mic on. Who else had a comment?
Brian, I was just going to say, Lori hit it right on the head with the people that you're around. And that goes back to, David Goggins with Jesse Itzler, or, what you were saying about sleeping in and earning the right to lay around because of your idea of success at the time. I had the exact same problem in my life where I'm laying around, sleeping in because of a monetary success, like a number on the scoreboard. Right. And all of the people that I was around, the way that they, people that were retired and they had a bunch of money, well, they're also suffering from Parkinson's and all these other, heart disease and all these problems. And then when you change that circle of successful people to people that are, beating the sun up, Grant Cardone's, kickboxing in the morning, you've got me jumping in ice every day, and that circle changes. It's about what your vision of success is. My vision is not of success is no longer monetary. Yeah. I already beat that weapon, right? Yeah. I already got that.
Yeah, but by the way, that success can be what destroys you too, right?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it was killing me.
Right.
The thing that I thought was putting me where I wanted to be was actually taking years off the back end.
Well, you weren't putting any pressure on the nervous system. We were talking about this in the Real Talk for Real Estate yesterday, which is Elena's show on Clubhouse. She does every morning on Tuesdays. But no, that's good stuff, Brian. I appreciate you, brother. I'm not shocked that you and I have a similar. We had a similar aversion to getting up early. But let's use the last minute or two. I just want to make sure we get a chance to get everyone. I pulled up Tiffany. I pulled up Megan Gerline. I pulled you up. Who's got a comment? Sandra, go ahead.
Hi, Claudienne. First of all, thank you for sharing your story. It's really inspiring. I'm in the position that you were in 20 years ago. And so my question to you is, something that stood out to me was, I don't want to be good. I want to be great. So thank you for that. I truly feel, I'm ready to make that transition from corporate to just doing real estate, but I want to know what your advice is on that transition. 20 years ago, go back 20 years.
Boy, I tell you this, I had hustle. I didn't really have a skill, but I had hustle. My hustle took me a long way. So if you're a person that knows that when you leave that corporate job, that you're going to hustle, you're going to put the work in, and guess what? We all have skill now. So guess what? You can come to trainings, you can get skillful a lot quicker than I got skillful, right? I went to the Tony Robbins of the Tony Robbins, and I went to all the free events that they have, and then they try to sell you something at the end. I couldn't afford it, but I went and got what I could until I could get into those larger spaces and rooms. And so I just say, you know what? Make sure that when you make that decision, even if you don't make the decision, be in the habit of a routine. Get your success calendar. Know what your target is. I want to make $20,000 a month. Then you got to know, how many people do I need to touch? You've got to do the work. Guys, there's no shortcut. You've got to pick up the phone. And I love all these automated systems. I do the automations, but you still got to pick up the phone and make contact with people. People text me that I don't know. I pick up the phone and call them. You know why? Not because I have the time, because I know they're going to appreciate it. I know that they're going to appreciate it. And the law of reciprocity says when I pick up my phone, when I call people that I need to pick up, they're going to pick up. And so you got to do what other people are not willing to do and go for it. Don't get stuck. Don't be around the people saying, oh, the market is just We've got 50,000 agents here. And oh my God, I can't get an offering. I don't even focus on buyers anymore right now. And I've never really have. They always come. I love my buyers, but I focus on the listings. And I'll tell you this week I got 3 listings, all at 7%. The average agent is going to tell me you can't get 7%. Have body posture, have confidence. It's not every time a listing appointment or any kind of appointment I'm all confidence. Oh, but I position myself.
Like someone's probably sitting there going, all right, that sounds amazing. But like, here would be a great like mantra to say to yourself, like, you know, I'm the kind of agent that always finds the angle, no matter if the market's up or down. I always find the angle. I always figure out a way to make money. Like if you just said that to yourself every morning when you woke up and wrote it down 10 times, like I am the agent that always finds a way. Like some of the most inspirational posters, you know, those like inspirational posters we always see, you know, my favorite ones were the ones where there'd be like a little branch growing out of the side of a building, you know, like, or like a little sprout seedling was busting up through the crack in the concrete. Right. And it's like life finds a way. You know, so if life can find a way to get that toehold on the side of a cliff and a big giant tree is growing and literally out of like a little tiny hole on the side of a giant, you know, cliff that's, you know, 1,000 stories high, like, can we not figure out a way ourselves? Like, I mean, we're not like, we're a little more complex than like a tree probably, or maybe not, I don't know. But like, you know, it feels like we are, you know, we're at least able to move around and do stuff and create things other than seeds. So, you know, like think about that. Like life finds a way, you know, what is your way? Like Claudienne just said, like, stop saying, oh, this market's tough. There's no deals. There's no buyers. Guess what? That already changed. It's already, and guess what? You missed it. Like if you're sitting there, you're still saying this is a crazy frenzy. No, it isn't. It plateaued. And now deals are getting done like crazy. And pretty soon it's going to bottom out and it's going to be a buyer's market again. And so like, where are you finding the angles? Are you figuring this out? Are you preparing for the next downturn? Are you bringing in these residual incomes? Are you bringing in this equity income piece that everybody in here should be working on? And I don't care if it's at EXP or somewhere else, you should be trying to get stocks in your portfolio, and you should be trying to create other forms of income that are passive. You know, whether it's investing in things, whether it's buying into multifamily properties or single family Airbnbs or whatever, you know, you should be getting that passive income, you know, jumping in with Stormy Wellington. You know, there's ways you can create passive that aren't always joining EXP. Now, we just happen to have one of the most lucrative, and a lot of these things you get from just selling houses anyway. So you might as well do that because it multiplies your effort. But, you know, hey, you know, I mean, there's other ways to skin that cat. So Claudienne, listen, I want to be respectful of everybody's time. Does anybody else have a question or a comment they just got to get off their chest, or they don't want to miss this opportunity? I want to make sure I give everyone a chance that raises their hand or that we pulled up. All right, going once, going twice, going 3 times. All right, Claudienne, take the last minute, 2 minutes, 2-minute drill. Bring us home. Let's close the show. Oh, was my mic off? Uh-oh, I could be getting bounced out here.
Find 2 or 3 things that work and implement. You should be posting 6 to 8 times a day on Instagram and Facebook, everywhere. Don't let somebody tell you you're wasting time and, oh, that's not income producing activity. Well, if you don't have, listen, if you have time, you get it done. And until you can afford to pay somebody to help you get that done, then you do it. Just make sure you don't get trapped in there for hours scrolling. Get in there, comment on some people's pages, like a few pages, make sure you post and move on.
All right. Hey, Claudienne, did you guys, I think my mic wasn't working. Did you guys hear any of my diatribe about life finds a way?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, good. I wasn't sure if I got that in. Well, listen, bring us home. I want to make sure, did everyone get a chance to ask Claudienne a question or pop their mic on that wanted to ask her a question? If there's any burning questions.
Nami, good morning, guys.
Go ahead,
good morning,
Catalina.
Brian. Good morning, Claudine.
All right.
I'm trying to pick in, but I don't want to.
No, be the last question of the day. This is perfect. Go ahead.
Not so much a question. This room was so much fire today. I don't even know where to begin. But Claudienne, kudos to you. I told you on your birthday, I want to be like you when I grow up. Amazing woman, your energy, and the beauty of it is success is not longer, it shouldn't be longer about us. It has to be about everybody else. It's just how many people are we pulling with us? How many people are we servicing with our success? And how many people are we lifting to the top with everything that we're doing every day? Claudine is a big example of it. And
So are you.
To piggyback on everything that you guys were talking about, now that we have the platform of EXP, this huge beast and monster, right? My team, some of my newer agents come to me and say, well, there's no inventory. Well, there might not be inventory, or we have some sort of shortage in South Florida, but I have 7 deals lined up in Mexico. Why? Because my platform allows me to service my clients overseas, and I am now global. I have my CIPS Global Pro certification and designation, and I'm putting it to use. We might have lack of inventory or opportunities, or it's getting harder here, but you need to look elsewhere because we are everywhere. So now I have my team working globally and implementing everything that EXP allows us to do.
Yeah. Market diversity, income diversity, right? She's making money from multiple areas. She's making money from multiple people, multiple ways. Go ahead.
I was talking to Lita Copeland, and she knew I was involved in these big projects in Mexico and the clients that I have in Mexico. And she said, I need to get with you because all my people from Texas want to invest in Mexico. I don't know what to do with them. So you need to be able to diversify and utilize everything that the platform services.
Collaboration, partnership.
The collaboration, for instance, it has been growing pain with me coming out of my shell. I'm an extreme introvert. I'm always on everything, but I don't talk. I don't give my opinion. I'm an introvert. I'm an analyzer. I'm always analyzing. It has taken a lot of me to get out of my shell and my comfort zone. But my team, the people that I service, those phone calls that I get every day that thank you so much for what you did for me. I really appreciate. I was able to get this done because of you, because of your help. So now I'm realizing by keeping shop, by allowing my introvert personality to get the best of me, I'm doing a disservice to all the people that needs my hand.
That's right.
So our success has to be, is not only about us. It's not about what we can show and what we can prove, but what service, what are we doing for others? How are we bringing these people to the top with us?
Yeah, it's your duty. And, and I had a great, that's such a great comment, Catalina. Let me just piggyback off that, and then I'm going to go to Claudienne to bring us home. It's so funny. Grant has that thing, success is your duty. But, what's funny about Grant for me is Grant gives me permission to be more of myself. A lot of people think, oh, you hang out with Grant, you're acting like a tough guy. No, I've always been that. I've been kind of holding back. And if you're not being your authentic self, you think you're holding back, you're doing them a favor. Mayali and I used to talk about this all the time. He's a tall guy, he's good looking, big barrel chested dude. And he used to always self-deprecate. He'd be like, oh, I'm terrible. Hey, I'm no good. Hey, I'm not the best. And it's like, dude, here's what happens. He's doing that to kind of humble himself. So he's not like this big, giant, awesome, impossible person to even relate to, because he's so, just like all trappings and appearances, looks like, he could be like Superman. Right. And you're like, oh, I can't even relate to that guy. So he would kind of dumb himself down, or he'd self-deprecate in order to be more likable. But what ends up happening is you start believing that bullshit. You start hearing it yourself, saying it over and over, and then it actually becomes true. You aren't that good. You aren't that smart. You aren't that awesome. You aren't that great. And so check yourself. If you're doing that, if you're downplaying yourself, or you're holding yourself back, or you're not stepping into your best, awesome, ultimate version, if you're not willing to go from good to great, if you're not willing to have a relentless pursuit of awesomeness, and you think it's going to, embarrass people, or they're going to say things like, oh, you're such a braggart, or you're so, you need to humble yourself. Look up the definition of the word humble. You'll never use it again. Grant said that to me once, right?
Dirt.
It's next to dirt. Okay. You don't stop calling yourself next to dirt, because at some point you're the only one listening. Okay. Everyone else that you think you're doing favors for. So give them permission. Like Catalina said, you got to give people permission to be the best version of themselves. Because otherwise, like Catalina just said, Catalina was holding back her sphere by not her stepping into her best self, by Claudienne not stepping into her best self. Then now and as soon as they did that, guess what? I bet all the people in your life started leveling up too, right? So
Brian,
go ahead, Mike.
When you discount yourself constantly like that, you're also giving people permission to discount you as well. And if you don't even look up to yourself and you don't even look at yourself as a high standing figure, then nobody else is either. And then those people are also going to start to believe your self-deprecation.
Yeah, it's like that post I made the other day on my Facebook page. It's like me saying, if you put it out there, the universe will respond or the universe will oblige. And I was broke as a joke. I was broken. I had broken hips, broken bones, broke financially, broken mindset. Breaking out in, every way I could be, I was broke. And yet here I was saying things like, you need to manifest it. You need to put it out there. So imagine how many people could I have brought into EXP if I led with my problems, or I told people about my struggle and how I had an unfair job and this guy fired me and nobody loved me. No one gives a shit. They're so hung up in their own stuff. Like they're not even really listening to that. And if they don't see a light at the end of your story, if they don't see that success piece, they don't care about your sob story. Like I wouldn't even bring that shit up because you don't even want to be saying it to yourself over and over. I mean, I can't tell you how many people, and Michael, we did this the other day. We sat down with someone and he spent the first 30 minutes telling us all the deals he got screwed on and all the people that screwed him over and didn't deliver and all this and all that. And I sat down and I said, are you willing to take 100% responsibility for your life and your action? I just got one question for you. Are you willing to take 100% responsibility for your life and its outcome? He's like, yeah, absolutely. But when I say 100%, I mean, there's some luck involved and he couldn't let it go. He had to constantly be looking for some external source for why he was struggling. And we just kept saying, dude, look in the mirror. Look at what you just said. Look at the words that are coming out of your mouth, not to mention the thoughts that are probably banging around in your brain. Like you are the biggest problem. You are holding yourself back. You are your own oppressor. Stop oppressing yourself. Claudienne, take us home. She's probably already calling some recruits. Claudienne, if you can hear me, go ahead. Take the last minute. Say goodbye. Go ahead.
So I just want to that I now get to be a part of. Brian, thanks for your leadership. Lisa, Michael O'Malley, and I've got to say to my direct sponsor, Elena Cardone, who I'm about to meet. I got to get out of here. And so, guys, all I can say is stay connected, collaborate, keep going. When somebody tells you no, keep going. When you don't see the end of the tunnel, find the light. Go outside and find the natural light if you've got it. And I'm just so excited to be in this space, in this realm with the people that I've been able to connect with. The energy is amazing. And I'm getting ready to write a post. I've been writing it throughout this entire session. And it's going to go back and say this. I remember saying when I was ready to retire at 41, it wasn't that I was ready to retire. It was the energy was stale. And so I needed to fix me. I needed new energy. I don't always want to be the energy. I need energy too, right? And so if you're that person that's stuck right now and you say, you know what, I just need to, give myself a chance, give myself an opportunity, and you're not with EXP right now and you're saying, you know what, let me at least listen to what they have to offer. Listen, every Tuesday, every Thursday, I'm going to be going on a 30-day run in September. Feel welcome to join my call. And I'm just excited to be here, guys. And it's the energy. Energy is, I'm going to end with this. Energy is transferable. So make sure you understand what environment you're in and what energy is transferring into your life.
There it is. I love it. Claudienne, love you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for all you do. And thanks for jumping in Closers Club today.